Hi, and welcome back to SOS, Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serina Dansker, and today I have an amazing guest, Michelle Robertson. She's a parenting coach, a speaker, a former PR powerhouse. She's traded her campaigns for connection. She now works with parents who feel overwhelmed, especially when raising their teens. She helps them quiet their inner critic, reconnect with their instincts, and shift from self-doubt to grounded confidence. If you've ever stared at your teenager and thought, is this normal? Then this is a conversation for you because you are definitely not alone. Michelle, welcome. And let's start with the big question. Why does parenting feel so hard today, especially for those raising teens?
Oh, well, Serena, thank you so much for having me, and what a beautiful introduction. Why does parenting feel so hard? Well, in short, because it is so hard. It's so hard. And one of the things I talk a lot to my clients about is just how different our upbringing was from our children's upbringing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's 180 degrees different. We had none of the quote unquote tools that our kids have,
Right.
that are making their lives so difficult. We had no knowledge of what other people were doing most of the time. So the comparison was not in existence to the
Mm,
degree it is today. So that in and of itself makes it so hard. Um, and it's hard for us to relate to our kids a lot of the time. And we try and we try and we try, but I think it's really the comparison, and the fact that we as adults are also comparing ourselves to the beautiful pictures that we see on Instagram and Facebook and social media. And so that comparison leads to a lot of heartache.
yeah.
And I can go into, there was a Surgeon General warning late last year, a Surgeon General advisory about the effects of stress on parents.
Hmm.
That is like a Surgeon General advisory about the effects of smoking on one's health. So
Right.
parental stress is real. It is real. And it is so real that the Surgeon General is warning about its effects.
That's just insane. I mean, I think back to my own childhood, and my mom, would just let me, as long as I was home by dinner, or if I wasn't going to be, I called in. I just, did my own thing. I never even turned to her a lot of times when I was struggling with friends and stuff like that because what would she know?
Right. Right.
You
There
know,
was a lot less fear back then, it seems.
it's
We
true.
are all really afraid a lot of the time.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges that you hear from parents in your sessions?
Oh gosh, it runs the gamut. Just regarding fear, I feel like that is sort of the undercurrent of everything.
Yeah.
That is what drives so many issues, is that we parent from a place of fear. And
Mm,
that results in overparenting and hovering. It results in um, you know, not doing a whole lot of listening to our kids. And so as a result, we're talking at them and we're lecturing a lot versus trying really to relate to them
mm,
and listening and being really curious. And by constantly lecturing, you're sort of breeding a separation because no one wants to be lectured to.
no, no, you're right. You're right. That yeah, I think the whole fear factor is, I mean, we're so afraid of making a mistake,
Yeah.
and there's that leads to the whole perfection thing, which I'll totally want to dive in with you later. But I know that you in your own career, I mean, you've made a pretty big shift from a career in PR to coaching parents. And I'm just curious, what drew you to this path? What inspired you? What's your spark?
My spark was my own experience in parenting
Wow.
and how how hard it was and how rewarding it is now. But in the thick of it, my kids are the very best thing in my life. But raising them, I often felt really ill-equipped. I really,
Mhm.
I often, my kids who are literally like two of my very best friends today, thank God. Um, when they're 17 and 20 now, but when they were little, both of them were diagnosed with ADHD. My daughter has dyslexia and dysgraphia and a number of other learning differences, and um, it resulted in school being really hard for them. And as a result, life kind of was hard you go to school all day and it's hard. You
Yeah.
come home and the safe person to take your frustration out on is mom.
Right.
And I don't think I didn't get the memo about that. And so I had to really like sharpen my skills regarding responding versus reacting,
Yeah.
patience,
Mm.
empathy, and really understanding that my kids were struggling and they weren't like, while it was being taken out on me in some cases, it wasn't about me at all.
Right.
It was
Right.
about what they were going through. And so shifting that mindset took some time, but um, I think it's hard and I think that's sort of like a very universal feeling with a lot of parents, regardless of your child's profile, is, we take things personally and we think that it should be Pollyanna and leave it to Beaver. And it's often just not, especially in today's time that we live in.
Oh,
And so in experiencing my own hardship through parenting, I wanted to somehow channel that in a way to help other people.
hmm.
And so I shifted my career when my father got sick. A while, gosh, it's been like almost 10 years now.
Wow.
He was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and that was my epiphany that I wanted to be there for him in the remaining months that he had left. And then I wanted to be able to be more present with my kids because I was running a PR business and it was all encompassing.
Right.
And so I shifted and slowly decided, slowly learned that my laser focus on my kids wasn't really helping them. Like it was a little bit too much. I had taken everything I was doing with my business that I was running to parenting.
Oh,
And so it was a slow process of kind of figuring out, okay, let's learn how to do this better. And then I wanted something fulfilling in life to do. And I found coaching and it's been great. And I coach people across the board. I coach a lot of parents, but I coach people who are not parents or not struggling with parenthood.
right.
So it's been really it's an extremely rewarding career. It's a lot. It's very fulfilling, and just being able to help people is awesome.
That's so amazing. And you are such a bright light that shines and you have so much to offer. So I'm so happy that you found this career because it suits you so well.
Oh, thank you, Serena. It's so nice of you to say.
I figure we'll take a fun question here. What's one thing that you never imagined yourself saying as a parent, but you totally do?
Oh God. Okay, so mm, I could go really inappropriate. I don't know if I should do that though.
Have fun, just have fun.
I'm not going to go there. But one thing that I think that I learned to say,
Okay,
and it's resonating right now because this just happened. My son is in college, and he's been having a really great semester
awesome.
after not some not so great semesters. Um, and he entered college. So just as a little backstory, he entered college right after breaking his neck.
Oh my gosh.
And he, as his neurosurgeon said, he was a sneeze away from being a quadriplegic or dying.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
if I ever told you that, Serena.
Yeah.
And so this kid who is, oh my gosh, I mean, he has such fortitude and bravery and perseverance.
Wow.
Picked himself up, had neurosurgery, had his spinal cord fixed, in short,
Oh.
and went to college the next week.
The next week? Oh my
This is my
gosh.
first kid to go to college. So, and I literally was, and it doesn't really matter what my reaction was, but you can imagine I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I don't think I can let this kid go.
Exactly.
And so anyway, he going, and no one, we didn't know this, but we were like, okay, well, he wants to go. Let's let him go to college. So he went to college, and it was hard, really, really hard for him. And mostly because this kid was traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he had had a near-death experience, and he hadn't dealt with that trauma.
Yeah.
So fast forward, he is a second semester or the last semester sophomore, and he has picked it up. I mean, he is like transformed. He has figured it out, and I'm
beautiful.
so proud of him.
Yeah.
He set his expectations for himself so high, and he, I mean, he just sort of like told himself he was going to get straight A's, and then when that didn't happen, he was so self-flagellating. Like he was so mad. He got a bad grade on a test, and he called us and he's like, I'm done. And this is what he does. He catastrophizes, and as many of us do.
Oh yes, yes. It's terrible. Yeah.
But he ended up with a B in the class.
Right.
But I said to him, and this is not something I would never have said when I was just learning how to be a parent. It doesn't matter. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Like, A, you're alive. Like, that's my biggest, like, takeaway.
Amen. Amen to that.
And B, like, it's one test. This is a blip in your whole life.
Yes.
Who cares?
That's such a great point, Michelle. And being on this journey that I'm on too, I can totally relate to what you're saying. For some reason, the younger people today, they put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect, to be the absolute best. And when they don't get that A, that 95 or above, they're so disappointed in themselves and feel like they're disappointing us and everyone else around them, and that there's no coming back from this.
I know.
And it's like, give yourself grace, please. You're not perfect, by any means. None of us are.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Right.
And a B is good no matter what you
Amazing.
think.
A C is good. I mean, like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. And so I have parents who I coach who have middle schoolers, and to them, they see the path ahead. They see, oh, he didn't do his homework today. That means, and that's where the catastrophication starts. He didn't do his homework. That means he's not going to get into the next level of math in high school. And that means he won't be as eligible for these top schools. And that means that he won't have a career and blah, blah, blah. We as parents can, I probably back in middle school set the stage for his thinking. I mean,
you don't even realize that,
ability.
what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think we have to be really on guard starting at an early age about the pressure that we're putting on these guys, because it really truly doesn't matter. And I don't know that you can really know that until you have older kids. I really don't think that the stakes are as obvious. And maybe it's because of what we've seen and what we've endured. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I know that when my kids were in middle school,
Mhm.
I was very much of a person who looked ahead and tried to like solve for,
Yeah.
you know, getting into that school. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. They will get into college. That's what I tell everyone. They
Yeah,
will get into college. They will get into the school that's right for them.
yes,
And
absolutely.
um, their mental health is the very top priority.
And it brings me to my next question, because so many parents feel like they're failing if their kid doesn't get into an Ivy League or into the best possible school. And, even when they're giving it their all, but where is this pressure coming from? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit?
I don't know, Serena. I think it's really interesting that we parents take our kids' performance as a referendum on how we parent.
Mm,
And I think it's really important to know and accept the fact that our kids are individuals.
yeah.
They are of their own nature, probably more than they are of who we nurture,
Mm,
you know? And we take so much responsibility on ourselves for who they become.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, they are who they are. And I think if we can just accept that at an earlier age
Mm,
and be okay with who they are, um, they are going to be more okay with who they are.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
If they aren't the cookie cutter of whoever the excellent kid is in your town,
Hmm.
that's okay. That's okay. They are an excellent version of themselves. They're their own unique being, and um, we are so we are so influenced by social media, other people,
Mm-hmm.
and if we can, and this is back to the social media thing and the
Yeah.
stress that we're all under,
Yes.
we can put blinders onto that and just accept who these little people are for who they are. Um, everyone will be happier.
I agree with that. I mean, it's so easy to, compare yourself to the Joneses or to,
Yeah.
and, oh, well, little Johnny, is in the advanced math, but my little Sally, is just scraping by and needs help. And as a parent, you're constantly, criticizing or feel like you have that inner critic in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it does show up in your parenting too. I mean, it must, right?
Yeah. I mean, we all, especially where we live in a very hard driving area of the country, and I think there are a lot of these areas, but we happen to live in one of the most hard driving area of the country outside of New York City.
Right.
There are a lot of very excellent, brilliant people that expect excellence and brilliance from their offspring. And
Mm,
that is contagious.
yeah.
And while it can be a good thing for some people because that's an example they aspire to and can achieve, that's just not who everybody is. That's not to say they're not excellent, but
Right.
they're not going to be like, not everyone's a master of the universe. And
Exactly.
and that's great. We don't want everyone to be a master of the universe. That would be a
Yeah.
pretty miserable existence, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer other than just kind of wild acceptance,
Mm. You know,
aggressive, violent acceptance of who you created and who
you
they are.
know, and just, yeah, to love the people that they are. I mean, you often talk about trusting your intuition, and um, sometimes you're in the middle of chaos where the child is lashing out at you because they had a bad day at school. Maybe they didn't get the A on the test. Maybe they didn't get picked to start in the lineup of whatever sport they're in, and it's all coming down on you. And, as a parent, how do you reconnect with that intuition, that inner voice?
Mm.
Do you have any tools or advice?
I have a few things. I'm going to actually just make myself a note here so I don't lose sight. There's a few things. First of all, you mentioned inner critic.
Yeah.
Not a single human being on this planet doesn't have at least one inner critic, but
Yes.
often many.
Yes.
And those are the voices in our head who are telling us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're
Yes.
not enough in whatever way. We're not doing it well enough, we're screwing up. Those voices come from any number of sources in our lives. It can come from like I have a client who channels her, she attributes one of her inner voices to her great grandmother, Barbara, who came over from Germany and is like a complete, psycho about cleanliness and neatness and tidiness. And, so it doesn't even need to be someone immediately in your life, but these inner voice, these very loud inner critics drown out the extremely wise inner wisdom that we
Mm.
all also have. It's a very quiet voice and it's the voice of our soul, I believe,
Yeah.
and it lives within us. And we have to get very quiet in order to hear it.
Mm.
And that's the intuition that you're talking about.
Yes.
And I have a client who talks about, I think it's a great term, margin. She's like, she has 4 kids, and she's like, I have no margin because she's
Mm.
job. She has 4 kids. One of her kids is autistic and is, a tough, a more challenging person to raise. And she's like, with everything going on, I have no margin to like just reconnect with myself.
Mm.
She's making a very conscious effort to create space for herself, which is so important.
Yeah.
So important. We lose sight of the importance of giving ourselves grace,
Yes.
giving ourselves that time, that quiet time to close our eyes and reconnect with that wise inner voice that lives in
Mm.
all of us. And when we can do that regularly, um, lots of change happens. You're much more balanced. You're much more dismissive of your inner critics that are squawking in your ear about how you're not doing it well enough. And then talking to someone about it. Like, I mean, we treat therapy or coaching as a nice to have,
Yes.
as something, I don't really have time for that. I don't really need it. There's not a single soul on this planet who wouldn't benefit from just talking to an objective third party,
Absolutely.
and just, hashing some stuff out. Every single time I have a meeting with a client, they walk away saying, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that we just talked through that. I never would have been able to come to those conclusions on my own. And
It's
I'm not telling them what to do. They're coming to
no.
they're coming to their self-awareness completely on their own just by me asking them questions.
And that's the beautiful part of it. I mean, it's just that when you're in the throes of life,
Yeah.
it's so hard to calm your mind enough that you can pivot and
Mhm.
see, I guess the forest beyond the tree.
Totally. Oh my gosh. It's so funny that you say that. The top image of my website is just the light coming in through a forest.
Ah,
And
it,
that light is wisdom.
it is. It
But
really is.
if we don't pay attention to it, we don't see it and we don't get the benefit of it.
Yeah. So, let's get a little practical. How do you help a parent go from being in that reactive state to being more reflective when the tensions are running high, when you want to fling the pot of pasta and just go, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
you
And who
know?
among us hasn't been there? It's such a human experience. There's zero judgment.
Yeah.
But it does take intentionality. It does take tools. I have a number of them. One very simple, two very simple ones I'll pass along right now.
Mm.
Simply by putting your hand on your heart
Mm.
is a calming method of bringing down the temperature of just whatever is happening in your brain. It stimulates the vagus nerve, and it brings you into a better sense of calmness. So if all else fails,
Yeah.
deep breath, hand on heart.
I love that. I feel calm already.
Right. Walking away,
Mm,
not engaging is so okay. Knowing that you don't have to win an argument,
mm.
accepting that you don't have to win an argument is so key. We feel like, I think it's probably the way that we were parented.
Yeah.
It's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of us had that parent.
Oh, yeah.
It really, like, we all know that we are in charge, but one little argument with your kid, if you're dysregulated, just walk away. Go take
Mm.
space for yourself.
Yeah. That's great advice.
It's sometimes really hard to act on because we think we have to win.
Yeah.
It gets competitive. And it also depends on how triggering your child is. I mean, we all have one child that triggers us more than the other. Most of us do.
Yes.
So the other tool that I teach to people, and this is one a lot of people do know, but if they don't know it, it is amazing at rewiring your brain when you're dysregulated. The box breathing, or it's also called square breathing.
What is that?
So it's used by the Navy SEALs
Mm.
in moments of extreme, stress or distress. It is very simple. It's 4 or 5 breaths in, inhale, hold at the top, 4 to 5 breaths, and it's all consistent. So if you choose 4, then stick with 4 throughout the whole box. Okay, so inhale 4, hold 4 at the top, exhale 4, hold 4, inhale 4. It's a cycle. So you inhale, hold, exhale, hold, all on the same count.
Wow.
And that rewires your brain from a dysregulated place to a much more regulated place.
Interesting. I'm going to try that.
It is really magical. My husband, I always assume that people know about it. And so I'm not going to assume anymore because
Yeah.
even if they do, it's a great reminder.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
haven't? Okay.
No, this is new
It is
for me.
magical. And whenever I'm talking to people, he's like, remember to talk about box breathing, because I taught it to him, and he's like, it's so amazing. It really does. It makes such a difference. Do 10 rounds of box breathing, and you're like, okay, I can do this. Like your regulation has come back online. And it's pretty magical. Those are 2 easy things to do.
Wow.
3 easy things. Walk away is a big one.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves the grace sometimes to walk away.
That's true. That's really true, because we feel like we have to finish it,
Yeah.
That it's that, fight or flight instinct sometimes when you feel like you're being attacked, right?
You're exactly right. And that is biological. So what happens in our brain is we have this little bean-sized thing in our brain called the amygdala. And when it is activated in a moment of stress, that is what our brain goes to. It's fight or flight.
Mm,
So to get out of those fight or flight moments when we're triggered, those are some tools for doing it.
wow.
But you do have to have the intentionality and the awareness of what's happening.
Well,
That's where
that's key, right?
it's critical. It's really critical.
How can a parent tell if they're starting to shift from the constant stress to more confidence? Can they, is there something that will signal you or?
I think it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
But my client who I was referring to before, who talks about margin, she is like my best case study. I'm so proud of her. She went from just a panicked woman who was like completely overwhelmed by so much going on. And she has just built such a practice of intentionality.
Mm,
She has noticed how important self-care is. She has noticed her own reactions to things that are so triggering to her. And one thing we haven't talked about is control.
Mm.
So many times we feel like we need control. We want to be in control. We want to control the outcome.
Hmm.
And when I work with parents, we talk about all the things that are triggering and we throw it up on a whiteboard. And they're all so completely valid. Like, they're everything that they say is 1,000,000% valid of why they would be triggered by these things. It could be like, my kid won't get up to go to school. My kid is never on time. My kid never does his homework. He's disrespectful. All these things that are like 100% triggering and valid. We talk about, what can you do to control these things?
Right.
And most of the time, the only thing you can do to control the situation is how you respond.
Yes.
Because the more you fight, the more it escalates.
Oh boy, I tell you, that is so true.
It is. And we think we have to fight, and we're going to somehow win a fight around these really hard behaviors. And if you can shift your thinking and your mindset to, I'm not going to fight it anymore. The kid can have natural consequences. He doesn't do his homework. The consequences are held at school.
Right.
Or there are consequences that we can hold, but it's not going to be a fight.
Right.
Because that will not end well.
No.
99% of the time. So what can I do? I can walk away. I can square breathe. I can put my hand on my heart. I can go to a yoga class. I can take care of myself and show my child that he can also take care of himself.
That's amazing. I mean, I've embraced more and more of, you can't control other people. You can only control your reaction to them. And it's something I didn't learn for 50 years or more. I'm sorry to
No, it's
say.
not taught to us.
No, and it's such a powerful lesson. It really is.
It is a powerful lesson. And I think one of the reasons it's so hard for us, and I hear so many people say this, is I listen to my parents.
Yeah.
Like many of us, like what our parents said was what we did. They were the authority and we followed their direction. And 9 times out of 10, that was the case in our generation and the generation before ours, our parents' generation. Like,
right.
It was their way or the highway.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. But what I do know is that the way that we were parented, the model that we were taught to follow, is pretty irrelevant now. It just doesn't work in this day and age.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, if you could invent one parenting gadget for today's world that actually worked, what would it do?
Oh, gosh. Could it be like magic?
Sure. You're inventing
Freeze time and just like go back in time. Oh gosh. Oxygen mask. This is kind of a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Put your own oxygen mask before assisting others.
Yes.
If there was one that just dropped out of the ceiling when we needed it, that would be an awesome.
Right.
Like it knew, like it was like something that we wear. It's a wearable, and like it triggers, like it's triggered when we're triggered, but we don't know we're triggered yet. Our brain doesn't know, but the oxygen mask does. So it just drops down and
it's
like
the energy around you knows. So then all of a sudden it forms. That would be awesome.
And you're like, okay, I need to breathe now.
Yeah. Because sometimes you're so in the moment, you can't even realize that you need to breathe. And it's so important, because if you are not calm or you're not coming from a good place, you're not going to be much help to anyone else. Right.
It's so true. It's true. You know who I'm thinking of right now? I'm thinking of Jonathan
Uh-huh,
On the
uh-huh.
school report when he says breathe.
Yes,
It is not something that we remember to do, which is so weird because
it you
it
hold
is
it,
the
yeah,
reason that we are alive is through our breath. It is so critical to our existence, but sometimes we hold our breath.
especially so what Michelle is referring to is she and I sometimes will play tennis together, and we get in those heated moments where we're trying to, have this great rally and win the point, and our coach, Jonathan, would always say, remember to breathe. And we're turning red because we're holding our breath. And it's
Right.
so true.
Yes. It's so true. Shout out to Jonathan. Why
I
is
know.
Jonathan?
It's true. It's true. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, and it's funny because, for us, success in that moment in tennis is you're just so focused, laser focused that you don't even realize what you're doing. And if you transfer that to being a parent, let's talk about defining success as a parent or redefining that success as a parent,
Right.
and what that really would mean for a parent.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Worst, yes. I mean, I think when you're a young parent, you are your child's success equates to your success.
Like potty training and things
Yeah,
like that.
things like that, like little milestones are like, okay, I did that. I taught them to pee. I taught them on the potty.
Yeah.
I taught them to speak. And then as they get older, oh, they made good grades. That's because I'm such a great parent. Oh, they're on the honor roll. They're starting on the lacrosse team. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
like, and we feel pride. And a lot of us, even though many wouldn't admit it, are like, I did a good job here. And by the way, you did. Congratulations. Like, that's so great. It is awesome. But that is not your relationship with your child.
You're right.
And that where I think success lies, is
Mm.
where how you relate to your child,
Mm.
regardless of where they are in life,
Yeah.
regardless if they're, like failing out of college. Does he or she know that you love them?
Yeah.
Does he or she know that they're that love is unconditional?
Mm.
How is he or she able to talk to you and confide in you without feeling judged, without
Mm.
feeling more of a failure if they're already feeling that way?
Yeah.
I think it's the tough moments where you kind of earn your medal in parenting.
Right.
It's the moments where you want to show up based on who you are from a values perspective,
Mm.
not who your parents were, not who your model was, but like who that inner voice tells you you are, who you know to be deep in your soul.
Yeah.
And the way that your relationship is with your child is what we all want in the end, right? We want to relate positively. We want to laugh and have fun. And it's not always going to be like that.
No, we're,
But
we're
if
not
you
perfect.
know, it's absolutely. I mean, people annoy one another, and
Yeah.
that's just part of life.
It's true. It's true.
But by and large, your child feels loved and you relate to them and they relate to you and you have a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not about how well they did in school. It's not about how well they did on the sports field. It's not about, you know, anything other than your relationship.
And that it's true. It's relationship is everything. And how can a parent support their child without especially the teenage years, their independence, without micromanaging them? I see it like I'm part of the college groups, and I see so many parents that have like everything done, doing everything for these teens or young adults, quite honestly. They're
Yeah.
in their late teens, early 20s. And, a lot of the comments I see that come back is let them figure it out. But, you know, how would you encourage a parent to support their child that way without micromanaging them?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the hardest things in the whole world. I am a recovering swooper. I I am so guilty of doing too much for my kids. especially when you see your kids struggle. Like my ability to be comfortable with my kids' discomfort is really subpar. Like I feel like a lot of people feel that they're like, I'll just do it for them so that my discomfort is quelled.
Right. Because you don't want to see them struggling or
Right.
stressed out. And
Yeah. If you can name that and say, this is about me and not about them, that's a big first step.
huh, that's
Um, it's hard to watch your kids struggle and know the answer and not tell them the answer or do it for them because you want them to succeed.
right. And if you
Love
see your
them.
child slipping or going down a path that's,
Yeah.
not ideal, or, wasn't in my plan,
Yeah.
what do you say to that parent? It's like, how do you let the kid fail? Do you let your kid fail?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's where third parties come in.
Yeah.
If it's a path that you really are feeling ill-equipped to handle on your own,
Right.
there's zero shame in calling in the expert.
Mm,
Now, whether or not your child will engage with the expert, that's one thing. But what you can do is engage with an expert. So, like, I have calls from people saying, "Will you work with my child? Will you fix my child?"
mm,
And I'll say to them, "Let's talk about you first."
right.
Because what I learned along the way is that I had to fix me and
Hmm.
the way that I related to my kids
Yeah.
before anything could be done with them. I had to fix my own approach and
Yes.
how I reacted before, especially if a kid is like, yeah, okay, you're making me go to therapy, but I'm just going to sit there the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So much of the work can be done by the parent.
Mm,
Um, but I think, yeah, when you do feel ill-equipped and you feel like the child is going down the wrong path, it's as important for you to get the support that you need as a parent
yeah.
as it is for your child to get the support. And then I think it's setting boundaries that you will hold,
Mm,
because that's sometimes the very, very hardest thing for a parent is saying, these are the boundaries, and then not moving on them. Like that's it. And you're in lockstep with your partner, your spouse, with what those are,
yes.
and they're understood by the child and the consequences understood.
Yeah.
A lot of times it really helps if you sit down, have the discussion, because a lot of times we don't talk to them. We don't tell them what the expectation is, and communicate. We take communication for granted. So if you can communicate with your child and say, this is the rule in our house
Mm,
because this, and if you can say because and give it a reason that's based on your values,
right.
because my value is honesty,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you don't take $20 out of my purse. It's not okay. So when you do that, this is the consequence, and
Right.
it's the consequence that you will follow up on. It's the
That's right.
consequence that will always be the consequence. And so I think holding boundaries is something we all struggle with,
Mm,
and and really kind of being very thoughtful about what boundaries you're setting and holding.
mm,
Sometimes the boundaries you think you should be holding aren't that important. And when you have too many, so I'll give an example. I have a client who really wants everyone around the table every
right.
night for dinner. And the older your kids get, it's harder to do that.
Yeah.
And I said, why is it important to you? Because I completely, if it's something that's like value based, that isn't about like that isn't about what you did growing up,
Hmm.
because as I said, like what we did growing up is kind of irrelevant now.
Right.
Having if it's causing an argument constantly and lack of peace in the house,
Right.
is it really important? Like, question those things, and then base your boundaries and your non-negotiables on the things that truly are important.
Hmm.
But
That's
that takes a lot of thought. It takes some journaling, maybe some coaching, some therapy, whatever it is.
It's shifting the mindset, right?
It's a mindset shift. You have to have a growth mindset when it comes to parenting.
Yeah.
When you have a fixed mindset, you're like, well, my dad yelled at me, so I'm going to yell at my kids.
Right.
That's how I learned to parent, and so that's how I parent. That's very fixed.
And especially if one parent is stuck doing it one way and the other parent's willing to pivot, you have that dynamic as well.
That's really
Hard.
weird. Yeah.
It's not easy. Parenting is definitely not, there doesn't come with instructions. And what works for one child doesn't necessarily work for the other child.
That's so true because of the gosh darn nature versus nurture thing. They are born unique beings and you have no control over it. And it's so crazy that like these two totally different people can come out of the same DNA.
It's crazy.
It is. I wrote a blog that was published in a publication called Modern Women and the title is Mom and Ain't Easy. Did I tell you about this?
I've heard it, but I don't think our audience has.
Oh, okay. Well, I bought a greeting card like 10 years ago, and it's really cute. It was in a cute little shop in our town that's no longer there. That makes me very sad. And it basically said Mom and Ain't Easy. And I was like, oh, I'll be able to give this to someone next week. It's sitting in my card file now. I'm a dork with cards. I keep them and like pull one out when I need one. Anyway, 10 years later, it's still sitting in my card file. And it is like the most universal feeling. And everyone knows it's not easy, but like, I think the reason I never gave it to anyone was I didn't want anyone to feel exposed. Like I see that you're having trouble because we want it to look so seamless and easy. And it's so not. I don't know why we feel like we have to pretend that it is. But for some reason where we live, and I don't know if this is everywhere, but I think it might be in way more places than where we live.
Yes, it is.
Everyone's pretending to have it all together.
And it's crazy, right?
It is hard. Mama ain't easy. Neither is dadden.
No, and it's not. And, I would love you to let us know, or what do you want every parent listening maybe to walk away with today? Just one thing.
Most of all is to take care of yourself.
Yes.
If nothing else, let it be a reminder to care for yourself. Put that oxygen mask on. Breathe, meditate. I know some people have a really hard time with that. Take the time to tap into that wise inner voice. And that, above anything else, is caring for yourself. Sometimes that can be on a massage table. Sometimes that could be in a pedicure chair. Sometimes that can be, going away for a weekend by yourself.
Yes. Or even just reading a great book.
Going and laying down on the sofa and reading a book. So one client she's like, sometimes I just go to my closet with a glass of wine.
There you go.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Like, just take that time, take your space, because you are benefiting your child when you do that. When you care for yourself, you're caring for your child.
It's so true. It is. And it just, I embrace self-love. Sometimes just taking, a moment and going to a thrift shop and just browsing around or doing things just to recharge the batteries,
Whatever it is for you. There's no one size fits all. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, Michelle. At every show that I do, I usually end with one of my son Scotty's poems. And this one, I think, relates to what our children go through. And he was only 15 when he wrote it, but it's so powerful. And it's the way I feel can't be described into words or rhymes. Get with the times. The kids I once knew are developing, not relishing in the innocence they once had. And I can't handle the weight on my shoulders, as heavy as boulders, that pull me down to the ground, making me pinned flat down, losing air, as lies fill my lungs. My body speaks the opposite of my mind. I can't take control of the situation at hand. for my body and mind don't communicate. They can't agree on a compromise, so therefore can't synchronize. I mean, this kid just puts into these words so powerful. You can feel it,
Oh
what
my
they struggle with.
Serina.
I know. It's just, but it's, and if you could take a moment and realize that this is what these little people or young people or peers are going through, and just hold space for them, I think is something we don't do enough. And Michelle, this has just been full of wisdom, laughter, and a great talk with you. And thank you so much
Thank you
for
for having me.
you
What an
know,
honor.
you remind us that parenting is not about perfection. It's
It's
about being present, right?
progress over perfection.
Oh my.
Presence over perfection. I love that. Yes.
And for anyone that wants to learn more or work with you, Michelle, how can they reach you?
Sure. My website is michellerobertsoncoaching.com.
That's great.
And there you'll see how to reach me there. And it brings me great joy to help other people. So
Oh, and you are so full of light and love. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in today. I would love if you could rate the show. If you want to donate, that would be most appreciated. Remember, SOS, Stories of Survivors, where survival sparks the soul. Thank you again for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
bye.